there's a lot of connections being made when you're doing copy work. And so helping the child understand that they're not just doing copy work to do it for the sake of doing it. They're also, it's like weightlifting. You're building the brain, you're making connections in the brain, and you're developing skills that are foundational that will help you later on. So help them understand that. I think one of the most important things we can have as parents is empathy. You want to know how to up your parenting game? Empathy. We do have some good books that you could use as Bible studies, though, like Jesus Unmasked is a good one, The Remarkable Record of Jonah, The Remarkable Record of Job. Elements of Faith is fantastic. I can't say enough good things about that course. I'm starting a campaign for everybody that said, be kind to your homeschoolers. We offer a lot of courses, and don't overwhelm them with courses. The beauty of homeschooling is allowing them to flourish in their own individuality. Happy Tuesday afternoon, everybody. Hope you're having a good week. Today we have question and answer. We have a lot of questions to get through, so we are going to jump right into it. I think it'll be good.
I think so. We have a lot to get through. I'm gonna make today fun. Today I'm gonna assign different emotions to each question. So I don't know how you all are feeling today, but I'm gonna say Jen asked this question very angrily.
Oh, Jen is angry and she's asking
Jen is angry because will there be an American History Academy class available by fall this year?
Boy, Jen.
Well, Jen wants to know.
There is an American history class coming. I don't know that it will be by fall. Summer, if Summer is here and checks in, Summer would be one to ask. She's the one who's doing it. I don't know that it was set up to go by fall though. So, sorry. Okay.
Hey everybody.
But it is coming.
In. Katrina, she's sad.
Aww.
I don't know if it's so much as a question, but it'd be very interesting in getting in Master Books better known at homeschool conferences. I attended my first one a couple weeks ago, and several of the families and other vendors had never even heard of Master Books. I'd even be willing to run a booth at conferences. We believe in all things Master Books, and it's been such a blessing to our family.
Now, I have to say, Brittany's not mocking anybody. She's choosing a random emotion. There's 56 questions, and so Brittany's just choosing an emotion to do it from. Was there a question in there? I just want to make sure somebody doesn't feel that they're mocking them.
No.
Yeah.
Great questions. She said, I don't know if it's so much as a question, but I'd be very interested in getting Master Books better known at homeschool conferences.
Yeah.
She'd even be willing to do the booth.
That's awesome. Me too. 5 years ago, nobody had heard of Master Books as a title. They knew our authors and they knew some of the titles we published, but they really didn't know us as a publisher. We've done a lot of great things for that. The best way that we continue to get the word out is when moms tell other moms. If each homeschool mom that works with Master Books and loves Master Books is willing to tell one or two of their friends about us, that's how we've just continued to work. There's no better way to do it. When we do shows and stuff, we do gain some exposure, but the one-to-one connections are just fantastic. This year we've only done 2 or 3 shows because of the COVID issues and different cities and states and legislations. We did Nashville a couple weeks ago. And
that's probably the one that she went to.
And the police came Friday night. They were called on Friday night because of no masks. The health department came on Saturday because of no masks, threatening to shut down the show. We did Rogers, had a fun time at Rogers. Anybody who came out to Rogers to visit us, but it was down considerably, maybe a quarter of the people that normally come. And at the end of the day, it costs so much to go to these shows. And if, people didn't want to come because of masks and different things like that. So it gets tired.
I think it was Jenny further below had asked when we're going to get our next round of t-shirts in. The order is in, so it should be within the next couple of weeks. And this time, I don't know if we told anybody, we ordered youth sizes.
Yeah, we have extra large, and we also have youth sizes coming.
Yeah.
So keep your eyes out for possibly a flash sale on youth.
Yeah, Sunshine said, I tell everyone that homeschool is about Master Books. They may be tired of hearing me sing your praises.
Thank you, Sunshine. That is honestly the best way. That's every time. If we can continue to support the audience here, and then you tell your friends and bring them into the tribe, mm-hmm. and we will do our best to also support and serve them.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's go back to reading them normal.
You're going to read them normal?
Yeah, because then I felt like I was mocking people, and I wasn't mocking people. Nicole said, where can I find the adjusted schedule PDF for combining God's design for beginners, heaven and earth, and God's design for heaven and earth?
That's a really good question. Is it in... If somebody knows this, if you could post it, I think it might be in the classroom supplements or classroom aids page, but it might be also on the product page. Seems like somebody... Let me think. I think it's on the beginner's product page. Thank you, Jessica. Appreciate that. On the beginner's product page, you'll find the combined schedule.
Connor said, I love my t-shirt. It's a great conversation starter. Awesome. I also just started, I kind of finished a design for tote bags. So I just have to get it approved.
That looks good too, yeah.
I should snap a picture and show them. Should I?
We need to get through our friends.
I know we do. KJ asks, does anyone have any insights on teaching multiples for the first time? Not multiple ages, but twins, triplets, etc.
I do. Treat them as individuals, right? So we want to combine. We want to do the classes as much as possible. But I'm sure you know that your children are individuals, and even though they may be twins, they're different. And so the beauty of homeschooling is allowing them to flourish in their own individuality. Mm-hmm. And so that would be one thing that I would offer. Anyone else will offer advice as well. So.
Angela asked, are there any plans for other Master Books Academy classes for music?
Potentially a music theory or a music appreciation music theory class, kind of a beginning class. So that's something that is in the works.
Lita Joy said, is elementary world history okay to do with a rising third grader? Also, would you like to offer beginning violin academy course? I'm a Suzuki teacher.
You're welcome to contact us through the contact page on the violin classes. Bottom
of the Master Books page.
Yes.
In that
folder. Yep. And we definitely look at a proposal for it.
Yeah.
What was the other question? For a rising third grader, I mean, you can do it, but I would probably, if you really want to do a world history course, I would look maybe at more of the U report. Even though it's meant for upper elementary, it's not going to be overwhelming for a third grader. I think if you do the world history for third grade, I mean, you can, but that's really designed for an older student. There's more reading, the font is smaller, there's more stamina required, etc., etc. So that'd be my recommendation.
Awesome. Mama DeFore said, did I hear right that the new child's geography, is it just a revised version of the other one? I had it on my list for next school year and wanted to get the revised if it is still the same thing. Thanks for the Q&As. They are very helpful.
It is a revised, but drastically improved. It's got the daily schedule. There's more images. There's some additional text in it. It's a 100% improvement over the previous edition.
Jennifer said, can we get the Master Books main site where the curriculum is located? Noted which selections has courses on the academy.
Well, we're working on adding those to the pages on the main site. So if you had a product page, it would have it. On the inside of the catalog, in the first couple of pages, there's also a list of courses that are now available in the academy as well.
Awesome. And then LT Horn said, a while back I remember you speaking about new subjects in the works, and I believe one was a health curriculum for elementary. When is that expected, and what levels will it be geared towards?
The health curriculum is is estimated in the fall of 2021, later this year, and it would be for upper elementary.
Awesome. And then Jackie said, new Master Books Academy classes this fall, would love a photography class for teens, and then also best resources for ancient history for elementary kids.
There are new classes coming, all the time. We have the zoology just went up. That's an incredible job Brian did on that. We have the paleontology. We'll have a video course as well that Brian's doing. He's adding courses all the time. Angela Odell is working on Math 6, and I think she's working on America's Story 1, if I'm not mistaken. Summer King is working on the American history for high school, and Kate Hannon has done Algebra 2 that will be going live soon. So
Jessie B asked, she said, we are new to Master Books. We switched mid-year. My son is a hesitant reader and is going into second. He is 7. Is this normal? All of my other kids read well and love reading. Do you have any insight? Also, is it okay to work as hard as we can to get caught up as fast as we can, take a summer break, and then keep going? The perfectionist in me says that we need to get through a full year's curriculum before we take a break.
I think every child is different, and so some children can take a little bit longer before they're really ready to read. That's a very transitional age right there. So I wouldn't freak out at this point. One of ours was like 8, 9, and then all of a sudden she just took off. So especially there's a lot going on in and when you have a family for a younger sibling, there's a lot going on. It's a lot of activity, and sometimes stopping and learning to read gets harder. Other kids just pick it up. We had one of ours taught himself to read at age 4, and he didn't want our help, and he's a fantastic reader. So every child is so different. So yeah, I'd give yourself a little bit of room. That's like that transitional spot. And you definitely want to do reading with them. You want to limit like video games and exposure to digital things, because that won't help the reading side. But I think you're okay.
I mean, so do you have a payment plan? Because I want all the things. And we said hi from rural Idaho. I can't talk today for some reason.
Idaho.
Hi. It's good to see you here.
Somebody asked that, so I wonder how they got the name Idaho. Somebody's like, "Where are you from?" They were from Ohio, but they're like, Idaho. Never mind.
I'm gonna take your shovel to stop digging.
Exactly.
Tabby A, hey, it's good to see you. Now that I've seen and we've met Tabby A, you probably met her before at conventions in person, or was that your first year?
I don't know.
It's my first year, so now that I've seen you and met you in person, I'm excited to see your name. I was excited to see your name before, but now I know.
Let me take that shovel back. No, just keep it over here with me.
I'll stop digging my hole. What do you do with a child who hates copy work?
Okay, so understanding the purpose of copy work. You don't do copy work for dwaddle. You do copy work because it actually builds skills. So when you're doing copy work, you're building there's so much going on when you're doing copy work. You're having to look at it, memorize, come over here and write. And so the brain is using multiple it's making, I almost sound like somebody who mumbles when they talk. You could make a t-shirt out of my speech.
Another shovel, just take that.
There's a lot of connections being made when you're doing copy work. And so helping the child understand that they're not just doing copy work to do it for the sake of doing it. They're also, it's like weightlifting. You're building the brain, you're making connections in the brain, and you're developing skills that are foundational that will help you later on. So help them understand that. One of the things we're going to talk about in teaching tips on Thursday is empathy. I think one of the most important things we can have as parents is empathy. Want to know how to up your parenting game? Empathy. And so we'll talk about that. And so I think in this case, it's just having a little bit of empathy. If I made you sit down, handed you an envelope or a book and said, okay, start copying that. If you didn't know why you were doing it and it just felt like you were just having to do copy work, and I didn't explain to you the benefits, the what's in it for me, I don't think you would enjoy it either. And so we have to appreciate that sometimes it's good to explain this isn't just busy work, it's useful.
Jess said, even letting your kiddo use fun pens or markers will help that kiddo who doesn't like copy work. That has helped me in our homeschool. I know when I got a case of gel pens, they were like gold.
Good idea.
Connor_3 said, what advice would you give a mom who likes to check off all the boxes when it comes to our school day? I'm trying to have connection over curriculum, but sometimes it's hard.
Check off all the boxes when there's school day. Yeah, I mean, we enjoy the work we do, but some days are hard. And it's, there's good times and bad times in it, and not every day is a good day. And I think giving yourself room for growth, giving yourself permission to have bad days. Like sometimes we have this Pollyanna mindset that life is always supposed to be good all the time. That's not reality. The reality is life is good some of the time. Life is bad some of the time. And when you have a bad day, just being able to say, today was a bad day. I got it out of the way this week. I'm supposed to have 2 bad days a week, 1 medium day and 3 good days. I had 1 bad day. I only got 1 more bad day to go this week before I have 3 good days. It just helps you be in a mindset for a realistic expectation. Today was a good day, actually. Let's hope we keep the streak of good days.
Oda said, hello everyone. You guys have no idea how much I love Master Books. My kids enjoy each lesson. Thanks again.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that feedback. I had to buy my own feedback because it's getting harder to get affirmation. So this button gives you the emergency affirmation.
Words of affirmation.
That's my love language.
Jennifer said, would Master Books ever consider a Bible study curriculum for adults to purchase? I feel like I need guidance strengthening my faith, and sometimes those Bible study books on Amazon just aren't what I'm looking for.
That's a good one. We do have some good books that you could use as Bible studies, though. Like Jesus Unmasked is a good one. The Remarkable Record of Jonah, The Remarkable Record of Job. I mean, there's some really good ones that you could use as a kind of Bible study. Ultimate Proof of Creation by Jason Lyle. Those would be good ones. So maybe we just need to create a morning basket for moms. That's a good idea. Okay.
You like jumped.
Scared me. I'm not used to that much affirmation.
Jessica said, questions God asked, questions Jesus asked. One race, one blood. It's an excellent.
Yes. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Love the new additions on the Academy. That's one thing our family needs is more video courses. How and where might I find out about upcoming courses? More specifically, writing strands and middle school level courses.
We like to think we're good at self-promotion. My motto is shameless self-promotion. So we will make sure if you've purchased from us and you're on our email list or you're here, we'll talk about it. We will be continuing to let people know a new product that's coming out all the time.
Louise asked, and we got to meet her at the convention. I got a picture with her in our Master Books t-shirts. Oh. She said, do you ever speak at conventions? I know you had a vendor booth at Teaching Diligently, but I think you would all be fabulous presenters.
Wow, well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's kind. No, I don't want to be a presenter at a convention. There's reasons for that. I think it's good when you stay in your zone, right? And when, I don't know, we started doing lives 3 or 4 years ago. 4 years ago now.
Yep.
Katie, yeah, right? And I just prefer this format. And, the convention environment is different. And I like the one-on-one connection, if that makes sense. That this just gives us the ability. We have our tribe right here. And this is where there's no other place I'd rather be.
Jen Forbes asked, when can we expect samples of elementary paleontology?
Hopefully, I would say 2 to 3 weeks. Samples should be coming in April.
Vicky asks, does Writing Strands contain grammar rules, or do we need to add a grammar course?
Writing Strands teaches grammar as you go. So it's things like, in beginning 1, there's a pencil on the table. That's a sentence. How do I add color to that, or how do I add some descriptions to it that would help the reader to visualize that statement? There's a yellow pencil on the wooden table. Well, now I see that differently. Why? Because I've added adjectives, and when I add adjectives, it helps shape the sentence, and it's. I have these fall off moments today.
I know. I can't talk today. We keep picking up shovels and digging holes that we need to stop. And...
Yeah, I'm trying. So that's how it teaches grammar as you go. It's more of an approach of, hey, we're going to apply this today, and so this is what we do. It's not like a grammar course where you're just, okay, today we learn about adjectives. It's more, we need to use adjectives, so we're going to use them.
Team Robinson Academy. I've been having trouble with trying to get my daughter to hold her pencil correctly. In one of the books, I think it's Language Lessons 1, it shows how they should hold their pencil, but every time I try to get my daughter to hold it correctly, she seems to have a hard time. Any tips?
Somebody, I don't know, because I'm left-handed, and I definitely don't hold my pencil right. I think there may be a lesson in the Simply K. If somebody's done Simply K, is there a lesson in how to hold a pencil? Because I know that there are some foundational ones in that.
Yeah. Tara said, do you know when Where Faith Grows will be released? Also, when will it be available for the discount price when it is released?
Well, it will be available for the discount price. I know it's in design right now, and they're working on it. So my guess is later this spring, early summer.
Beloved Gagnon said, can I adapt the God's Plan for Life Science for my K, 2nd, and 4th graders and do it family style?
You can. I mean, some families like to do the God's Design for Life, and then by the beginners, because the beginners has activity sheets and things designed for younger students, and you can schedule them together. As we found out earlier, you can actually see the coordinated schedule. If you go to God's Design for Life Beginners, the schedule for combining them is right there.
People are suggesting pencil grips, but Vicky said buy a big pencil or triangle pencils. The triangle pencils Mom used with us, those helped a lot.
Okay.
Because it's 3-sided, so each finger goes on a side.
Okay.
K-Story said, what age group will a Child's Geography Volume 1 explore his Earth before?
Cover the pencil in maple syrup, and then when they grab it, it will be stuck to their hands.
Elmer's glue.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. What was the question?
We're so off today. K-Story said, what age group will a Child's Geography Volume 1 explore his Earth before?
That's for like 3rd through 8th. It's kind of upper elementary, junior high.
Kaylee asked, any chance you'll come out with handwriting for younger kids? I think it was mentioned for 3rd grade, but I love something gentle for my 1st and 2nd grade students as well.
I don't know. I know right now the one that we have for the 3rd grade is that's about where it's recommended, and so I know that that's coming, but I don't know about any others at this point.
One of my favorites, Kim Now Kelly, asked, will the ninjas be able to break into Master Books again and give us a sneak peek of Where Faith Grows when it is ready?
Well, they put a new system in that I don't know that we can do that, but
because somebody leaked the video.
But we're talking. We think we can get a release form signed by editorial that they won't realize that they're signing, that will actually give us permission to share it. So I think we'll be good.
Linda said, do you guys have recommended reading lists per grade, which include both books you sell and recommended literature you don't sell but are also great reads?
We don't have any recommended lists at this point. We haven't had time to start reviewing books to sell. We don't list books normally that we haven't had time to review that don't fit the worldview because it's such a sensitive thing. So our recommendation right now is still to choose books that you're comfortable with and that you believe your child would be interested in.
Yeah. Kathy A., good to see you again. She said, also, what would you recommend for science for an incoming 8th grader? I've asked for recommendations from moms, but I'm curious what you would say. He is currently doing applied engineering and really enjoys it.
I think Elements of Faith as a pre-chemistry would be a really good course. I think you could also do the General Science 1 or 2, if there were some interest in those. That would be another good one. So those would be 2. Elements of Faith is fantastic. I can't say enough good things about that course, even if you didn't use it just for the science. If you were a person who liked a little more rigor, like you wanted the kids to do 2 or 3 courses at one time, then I would go with the General Science and add Elements of Faith as a Bible or devotional.
Missy Caps asked, I just can't talk today. When will the rest of the extra practice packs 4th through 6th grade be ready? I really appreciate these.
4 is in the works. Hopefully we'll have that pretty soon. And that's the only one. I know 5 and 6 are also coming, but the only one that I know for sure is 4. Well, hopefully 4 can be available by start of school year.
Shannon's asked, is it best to use the elementary U.S. Geography and Cultures and elementary World Geography and Cultures alongside of America's Story / World Story, or separate?
I think it's a great idea. I think when you're doing America's Story, you don't have to do it all in one year. You could even break it up because it's a 3-year course, so you could do that. So, yeah.
Jessica McCullers said, my son used Elements of Faith as his Bible and God's Design Chemistry as his science this year. They worked very well together.
Great job, Jessica. Why isn't Jessica doing this?
I don't know. She's answering all the questions.
She's answering all the questions. That's good. Good job, Jessica.
Rebecca said, any practice makes perfect for language lessons, talks, and I think this would help solidify the language lessons curriculum and maybe keep parents at ease if this program is enough.
The language lessons is in the course. Like the more than practice, or the
practice makes perfect.
Practice makes perfect is actually in the back. There's different exercises. More than practice for all you that feel the need to do.
More than words. We have more than words. It comes with more than practice.
Yes, more than words. Actually. Jessica's is where faith grows.
Yeah, that too.
Okay.
Never mind.
So where language grows, we're on a roll. In the back of the language lessons for living education are additional games, exercises, additional work. That's where the practice is actually built into the course with language lessons for living education. So we even talked about maybe putting together a bit of an addended schedule that has where to, here's a good place to use this game as an extra resource. But there are the practice resources in the back.
Rebecca asks, that's what she just asked, never mind. We're just...
I don't know that we should be high-fiving.
Jamie said, I'd love to see a new family morning basket. Any plans for more? We have already done most of the books from the current morning baskets and I've really enjoyed them. Well,
we have other books. We haven't put them together in a morning basket. It's time to look for a morning basket. It's hard to have a lot of our books for people were for adults, not necessarily kids. Mm-hmm. And so I'll take that as a suggestion.
Yeah. Jessica Water said, I am so excited for Where Faith Grows. We are super excited as well.
Yeah, we are too.
Whitney Gray said, hi from Kentucky. Hi. Just wanted to share that this is our first year to homeschool and we absolutely love Master Books. Thank you for this curriculum and for taking time to make these videos. It has been such an encouragement. I'm continually sharing the videos with family and friends.
Awesome. Thank you, Whitney.
Sarah C. Homeschool said, I heard there might be a teaching companion in the works for language lessons for living education. Any info on that? P.S. You guys are awesome.
I believe there will be one, yes. I don't have a date or I haven't seen anything on it. I know that it's in the plans, but there isn't one in there.
Jessica on Water asked, does Master Books plan to come out with more readers? My girls love the readers from Master Books.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that we have any immediately, but we're trying to acquire authors and projects for that. Absolutely.
Michelle asked, I have a high schooler. Would it be overkill to do format writing and the grammar?
At one time, yes. Format writing and grammar, those are serious courses. So I would do one year and another the second year.
Mama Swick asked, I was wondering if you could touch on the Stovall High School history. What is it and isn't? I know that at one point, combined with the literature course, it was a 3 credits, but I believe now it isn't, correct? Also, my most recent understanding is that some of or all of the British history is now combined in the world history. I have several old videos and believe I have thoroughly confused myself with the new and old information combined, lol.
Yes, there are 2 courses with the Stovall's history. One is the American history, one is the world history. World history, we brought some of the British history into that. We also added more biblical worldview. Both of the books are now colorized. The teacher guides have been changed a little bit. There used to be a lot of open-ended questions, answer may vary, and so we've reduced the number of answer may vary questions. We have some more short answer, true, false, multiple choice type in those, I believe, the formats, but it's not all essay questions anymore. And then in addition to that, like the world history is in the Master Books Academy, and Summer did a really good job of bringing even more biblical worldview, tying some of the concepts together and helping with that, and she's in the process of doing an American history. So that's as far as the history, if Jessica's still here, I know she has the answer to this off the top of her head. If you do the history and the language for that, I believe it's 2 credits is what we're saying. It was kind of a credit for history, a credit for writing, and a credit for literature. But I'm not sure. History is 1 credit on its own. That's what, yeah.
Barbara D said, I have a silly question. Why with the PDF ebooks, isn't there a bigger price difference? The book price is a few dollars more than the PDF. She said, thank you for offering ebooks. It was a friction point with our other curriculums. Before we came to Master Books, I've been able to reprint a random page on the moment's notice.
Good question. The reason is what you pay for is you're paying for content. Master Books doesn't charge very much for our physical books. In fact, I often say I spend more on business books. Every time I go buy these little hardcover business books, I spend more on those than what a lot of people are spending for a year's worth of curriculum. And we have an obligation to the authors who we publish for to make sure that we charge for the content that they created. And we provide digital not as a cheap option. We provide it mostly because we have missionaries and military people who serve overseas, and it's expensive to ship. And so the content is what you're paying for, not the physical book. The difference in price is about the production cost for the book, to have physical book. So
Jessica said, literature is 1 credit on its own. Unless you read every book recommended and complete every assignment, it would then be 1 lit credit and 1 comp credit. We recommend using it as a 1 lit credit only and picking / choosing which books read completely, if any. This gives you the ability to adapt the course to your student and your expectations. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. We're glad you're here today because you've helped us answer like most of the questions.
Hannah Madeline said, hey y'all, joining late but so glad to catch the video. It's good to see you again. I recognize your name popping up every now and then. Love it. Joy M said, are there plans for more Bible courses? We finished More Than Words 1 and 2 in 1 to 2 years, specifically for middle and high school.
We're working on it. Where Faith Grows is one that you could plan on coming out this year. Also, don't rule out elements of faith. Even though it's a pre-chemistry course, there's fantastic biblical truths in that, so look at that. This is going to come later, so remember, because we can skip it. But Israel Wayne, hopefully we can get him to work on a project. His family, they just had baby number 11. Congratulations, Wayne family. And it's been a year for them. So they've had to focus on life more than some of the projects, but I know he has some books that could easily be used as a devotion as well.
Rebecca said, would Adventures in Planet Earth be too easy for a young 5th grader?
I don't think too easy. I don't think so. I mean, it's not going to be as robust as, say, a 5th grade type curriculum like the God's Design series, but I don't think that it's going to be too young. I think you're still going to learn, and the goal is learning, and as long as your 5th grader is learning, I think you could do that. You could always supplement with additional videos, trips, field trips, reports, anything like that.
She also asked, how do we fit it all in? We want to do all the courses.
Yeah, okay, so I'm starting a campaign for everybody that said, be kind to your homeschoolers. So we offer a lot of courses, and have your child help pick out the courses, and don't overwhelm them with courses, because that can be rough too. So
Gloria said, isn't there also a devotional with a zoology course? It's that green.
Yeah, it's God Created Animals Me. That's a good devotion too. I think it used to be in a morning basket, or might still be.
Vicky asked, can God's Design be used in high school?
It's designed for up to 8th grade. I think you might be able to, but you'd have to add some to it. I think you'd want to supplement it. It's not a high school level course.
Heather asked, are there any other resources you recommend to use with the U Report World History course?
I mean, you can add anything to that course. That course is very open, so that you can specifically go out and research different things that you're interested in. So yeah, we have some things that are gonna, if you're doing creation, the Henry Morris Study Bible or the So Noted book would be a great resource to use for the scriptures and reading. For different world events, there are some that would be handy. With that course, what I recommend is, if the student shows an interest in something, then go explore that interest. And if it's, if he's interested in Genghis Khan, then go and research a little bit more about Genghis Khan and the effect that he had on the world, and the effect that it had on the gospel, and the way that God used even the villains in history sometimes to impact the spread of the gospel.
Libby said, we love the Legends and Lore Flood book along with you report.
Oh, that's good too.
And Jessica said, check out the video on our YouTube channel, Sneak Peek Elementary World History You Report. There are many Master Books resources recommended that would work great with that course. We'll just ask the questions, and Jessica and Libby, you guys can just chime in.
Maybe you could try doing it check out the video on the YouTube channel, the Sneak Peek Elementary World History. You're going to find many Master Books resources recommended there that would work great for that course. And then smile.
Gloria said, we are looking to slow down, slow way down, but I would love to strew some good books for my 2nd grader. Any suggestions? I'm already planning to use Adventures in the Physical World to grab his attention. He has just been refusing to do school, so I'm trying a different approach. He's 6.5, 2E, twice exceptional, autistic, ADHD, gifted in math and reading. Please help this tired old mama out.
Some of the books from Applied Engineering, like Discovered by Design, is that the one that's the one that Ray Comfort wrote? Maybe just buy some of that type of books that would give a little something fun to look at. And even like the Wonders of Creation series, you don't have to make a course out of it to help pique an interest. And so pulling back and just focusing on some of the wins. And at that age, especially if you're struggling with some of the other things that you mentioned, but that age can be very difficult too. So don't feel the need to high school level type intensity. You can just relax a little bit and enjoy discovery, especially with science. You can do nature walks with a notebook and as you do Adventures in Planet Earth, I think there is a notebook project in Adventures in Planet Earth actually, and just enjoy that kind of. You want to reward the behavior that you want, and so you just wait for that little spark, like when you're trying to light a fire and then all of a sudden there's a spark and then they go and they try to make it come alive. That's what we do with education. We don't really know what's going to light, but when one of them lights, we reward the behavior we want.
Really good.
That was like special effects and everything.
That was amazing.
You're welcome.
Inspirational.
You were motivated?
Let's see. Whitney asked, would it be overwhelming to do Passport to America and Passport in the world in the same year with my 2nd and 5th grader?
I would say yes. I would, because enjoy the journey, right? So Passport to America or Passport to the world, depending on what you're doing, just enjoy the journey. If you do both, it's going to kind of get muddied in the middle. I mean, not saying you can't, because obviously you're the carpenter and the curriculum is a tool. But I would recommend just enjoying the journey, especially at those ages.
Yeah, Jennifer said zoology was the spark for my 2nd. They started school every day with that, willingly and happily.
Awesome feedback.
Zoology, the Big Book of Animals is my favorite book ever that we've ever done.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Krista said, is express shipping the only option for shipping? Wanted to order this morning, but the only option was to pay $9.50 for shipping, which wouldn't make sense with my amount of purchase. Thanks.
Yep. So that's a good question, especially on a flash sale day. I want to answer that question. So we ship, most of the time, we ship FedEx. If it fits in a FedEx Express envelope, we actually ship Express, or we ship USPS priority mail. We don't do like media mail, we don't do first class mail. Every now and then there's an exception to that rule, but for the most part we do Express. And we charge actual shipping costs. So when you buy a flash sale book, I don't have a copy of the book, but I know we did Anatomy and Physiology. I do actually. It was one of these books today. This isn't the exact book, but it was this book, which is a pretty heavy book. It's a hardcover book. It was in the flash sale, and I think it was for like $4.99. Okay, now this book normally would be $17.99. That's retail price. Maybe we charge a little bit less if it was a discount. So when you buy this and you pay shipping for it, you're thinking, well, I only paid $4.99 for the book. Why would I pay $7 or $8 in shipping? Well, that's the actual cost to ship a $20 book that we've discounted down to about cost. And so flash sales, you got to think about it. How much does this book weigh? Well, we can reduce the price. We can't reduce the weight. And so the weight, it still costs the same amount to ship this book, whether you paid the full retail price or you paid for a flash sale. So when on flash sale days, a lot that comes up because people think, but the book was $1.99 and I've got to pay $7.99 shipping. But it's not $1.99. That's a flash sale price, and the weight stayed the same. So I hope that helps explain a little bit. It's kind of a mind thing because we don't ever have that question when people are paying retail price. It seems like, well, that makes sense. And then if you place an order over $75, we get free shipping if it's in the contiguous U.S.
Awesome. I lost my questions. Hold up, wait a minute. Okay. Hannah said, I see myself and others get so excited about all the courses, but in trying not to get overwhelmed, how do you tell when you're doing too much? How do you tell when you're not doing enough courses and classes?
I think it's your students. If you just notice that your students are losing their desire to do school and you're having to really push them through it, that's a good sign of it. Your basic 4, math, language, history, and science, are you getting those? And then maybe adding an elective. As long as you're covering the basic 4, that would be the recommendation I have. And then you add art, music, phys ed, those type of things to the day, and that's in any number of ways that you can achieve that.
Yeah. Okay. Melissa Rampy said, I have a daughter that throws up at the mere mention of blood. She will be in 5th grade next year and has done no anatomy course because of this issue. I know she needs this, but I don't know how to balance that need with being sympathetic to a real issue. Do I push her to do this type of course now, or do I wait until high school? Do I just have her do certain parts of anatomy course and skip any parts about blood? I honestly don't know how to approach this with her. Help.
I don't think you would need to do an anatomy course, honestly. I mean, you do life science, which is biology. You can do heaven and earth, like astronomy and general science, earth science. You do physics, which is mechanics, levers, all of that, and then you do chemistry and ecology. So if you wanted to do an anatomy course, you could as a science, but that's not usually something that's required on a transcript. It would be the other majors, right? It's going to be your biology, chemistry, physics, and an earth science or general science.
The Faith Over Fear Mama asks, which language lessons level would you suggest for my son? He's 12 years old, can narrate stories orally, can do some copy work, can write a paragraph, and no grammar instruction yet.
Well, the readiness test, if you go to the product, the readiness test is there, and you can kind of see, can you write a sentence, can you write a paragraph, and where you would place him there. I would also look at the writing strand samples for 12 and just see where he would place there. Maybe you would begin at beginners, but if he hasn't, like beginners 1, and even though it may be simple, it may be effective for him to go through that training as well.
Melissa said, thank you. She's obviously not going to be a doctor, so it helps knowing that there's no reason she has to have anatomy.
Except when she becomes a mom and kids do what kids do, Yeah. We had this guy in our church. He did this stunt with a 4-wheeler and drove his handlebar up into his leg. And one day we went to visit him because I was a pastor, and my son and I were sitting there, and his dog came over, and his dog stunk at the same time that he was telling the story of how the handlebar placed and everything. And it was like, ugh, both of us could barely, I was about to pass out. Believe me, I've had some jobs that most people can't do and would have passed out with, but from that moment on, that and armadillos. An armadillo, I gag. I'm not going to go into my armadillo story, but if I see an armadillo...
Every time there's one on the road,
I have a gag reflex because there's something happened with an armadillo. So, I get it.
Our friend Lindsay Barnes said, I asked all my questions at the convention in Rogers, but looking forward to the lives. Good to see you. It was good to see you over the weekend.
Yep, we enjoyed seeing her family.
Jen H. said, is the PDF for the artist journal printed on regular copy paper or is it thicker? I'm trying to decide if I should purchase the PDF for multiple kids or go ahead and buy physical copies. Thanks.
All of Master Books curriculum is printed on a heavier paper, so it's not like a copier paper. It's actually a heavier paper so that you can't just see through it. But I think you could also go buy a sketch pad or an art pad if you chose to do the artwork. You could do it on like an art pad.
Melissa said, don't come to Texas, armadillos everywhere.
Yeah, well, they're all over Arkansas,
all over
too.
Here.
I grew up in New York, and New York doesn't have armadillos. Armadillos come from a deep place that Scripture talks about called Hades, and I don't. Yeah, we need we need to go. I'll dig a shovel. Armadillos.
Dig a shovel. I'll just take the shovel and stop
physically. Just thinking about an armadillo. It's a long story, but we moved here a few years ago, and I had an encounter with an armadillo, and I've never seen an uglier animal in my life than an armadillo, and yeah.
And that's that.
That's it.
Rebecca said, thank you so much for answering all my questions. I feel like you gave me permission to not do all the courses. We are going to stick with the ones my kids are interested in.
Awesome. Good.
Elizabeth Gillert said, I'm considering switching to God's Design or Science next year because I'll have a broader age range. Is there a difference between your version and the AIG version?
Of God's Design? Ours is, the AIG version no longer exists. Master Books now has all the rights to publishing the God's Design series. Our series is in 2 books. You don't have to download anything. It includes a daily schedule. The content is 99% the same, but the usability, the format, and the pricing are all significantly better. You're better off using the Master Books editions.
The Faith Over Fear Mama said, my 6-year-old son has not had any formal school yet. I just read to him, sing learning songs, and play. He knows the alphabet, can recognize all of the letters, uppercase and lowercase, knows all of the letter sounds, and can write the uppercase alphabet. Where should I start him in language arts? If you
What?
go onto the language arts page, on there at the end of the paragraph, it's at the top of the page, it has a placement test where it says, where should my child start? And that should help you out.
I would do that. Yep.
Melissa said, not sure if this is too technical or not, and I don't know what to call this issue, whether it's a skill or developmental or something else. So I'll try and explain what I'm seeing and see if you have any ideas or tips on how to help with this. My son, who is 6, in Math K today, for example, was learning about symmetry and looking ahead. I knew this was going to be a challenge for him because he would need to write or draw what he is seeing in order to help him create the same shapes in general or symmetrically. There seems to be a disconnect when he is trying to draw it. He still can have this with his numbers where he recognizes the numerals, but has a disconnect when it is time for him to write it himself. Is this normal or common challenge for children, and will this get better with practice? We were encouraged to keep an eye out for struggles in the early years of learning for our son since he was exposed to alcohol by his birth mother in the womb, so I'm still trying to learn what's common or what might be something deeper going on in the brain.
Okay, so we have a fetal alcohol son, so I understand the challenges that might be associated with that. But at that age especially, yeah, there's a lot of connections being made in the brain. Don't panic, unless you see continued difficulty making that connection. And Carrie Bailey teaches a course, Simply K, in the Academy, and I think it's a phenomenal course for anybody who's doing the Simply K course, because she takes, like, sometimes students have an issue with a B or a D, and then she shows a spoon and she says to a student, this is a spoon, right? They don't know, is it one way or the other? So when they see a letter, they still haven't made the connections yet. They just see a shape that looks like one or the other. And she does a really good job kind of coming alongside the parent through the Simply K process and just helping answer some of those questions. So I think it's very normal for students that are making connections, especially in a kindergarten, first grade level, to have confusion. But so I wouldn't worry too much about that. But I do understand the challenges that you have. And in that case, helping the brain make connections and understand just becomes a little bit more of a challenge.
Yeah. Hey, Mandy Ferris, it's good to see you today. Hope you're having a good week. Lindsay said, switching to junior high history, she is in 8th grade. Which level do you recommend or let her pick? She will be switching to high school level next year.
8th grade history I would recommend would be the world history. I'm kind of fond of the modern history for world. I think a lot of homeschoolers focus on the ancients because it's easy, but the modern history shapes so much of where we are today, and I think that's a really good way to get a world history and focus on modern. Mandy, I hope you and your husband had a good anniversary. We met them in Nashville on their anniversary. Was it 17
know it was
years?
On their anniversary.
Was it 17 years? I thought it was their anniversary day.
I was there for the beginning, and then I had to go help somebody, so I stepped away.
They were hoping to go to, they came to Master Books as a special thing. Well, to teach them
Something to
diligent
celebrate.
It wasn't just Master Books, but yeah, it was fun to see them.
Yes,
17. Look at that. I got that. That's amazing. At 50 whatever. I don't even know how old I am, but I got your anniversary right. So.
Did we answer we answered the high school history one, yes.
Yes.
Sinclair family, we answered that a little bit early about Israel Wayne. Subi said, looking for 9th grade literature for a child with special needs. He began reading at the age of 3, and when we read anything and ask specific questions, we receive answers. He has autism with delays in receptive and expressive speech, which leads to problems writing an essay or report on books we read. What would you recommend for literature or language arts needed in high school?
How old are they?
9th grade.
Yeah, I don't know if I have an answer for you on that. That's because of the challenges that you have and understanding the way critical thinking works with, I think it's trial and error. The books that he's most interested in reading, that you see him take an interest, if he can, because he may be able to read and recall, but not know how to apply the information, because that's something that can be kind of common in some special needs. So I don't know that there is a one size or a good answer to that question.
Tony said, help me wrap my head around writing strands, about how writing strands would be a complete language arts curriculum for a 7th grader. We're finishing up language lesson 6 and writing strands beginning 1 this spring. I need help getting talked into only using writing strands for next year. Is that what we're supposed to do, or is there something else to add to that for grammar?
2 things that I'll give you because we're going through really quickly, and I've done a video on writing strands. But if I give you 2 tips on that, go to YouTube, type Writing Strands David Marks. David Marks was the author. He was recorded. It's an audio-only video, but you can listen to him give a presentation on the heart behind writing strands. The second thing would be the teaching companion. Look at the teaching companion and the methodology that he uses to teach language. It is a comprehensive, complete curriculum, but it's outside the box, and you want to get familiar with you want to hear the way he talks about it to understand what he was trying to achieve. Because if you're coming from a traditional language curriculum, you're going to struggle because you're comparing apples to oranges.
Homeschooling for him said, not curriculum related, how do you get your non-sporty teams to get exercise? I've been informed that walking around the house or doing aerobics is weird or dumb. We do get out when we can, but with little one, also I find it harder to get out as much. Informing teen of health habits of exercise makes no impression. I know that, but I don't feel like it, is what I hear. Help, please. I'll say, when you or mom jumped in and did, I know at teen years, you should probably start taking a little bit more responsibility, but with you or mom or grandma used to jump in all the time. She played, every time grandma would come, we'd set up a badminton net and we played badminton back and forth. Or spike ball is super fun because you need 4 people to do it, or 2 or 4. And the more people you kind of get in at the same time just makes it more fun.
Yeah, something else that we did that I think was one of our best was we had a smaller group of families. It wasn't a co-op. We were just a homeschool group that would get together. We had a field day at the end of the year. But every week we had a gym day. And I had taught gym and phys ed in a private school. And so I would teach the kids. So if you have a dad or somebody around that maybe the families could get together at a park and do some exercise, some calisthenics. And then, as silly as it sounds, a lot of these kids didn't know how to play kickball or dodgeball or those things that can be a little bit embarrassing for a homeschooler. And so I remember our first kickball game was a little bit difficult, but it really helped them to understand some of those. And so that was like one of the best ways, is find some local families that maybe would get together and do a weekly meet and greet.
Yeah, it was a gym kind of thing, but it wasn't a sport, so there wasn't pressure to, like, if you couldn't make it one week, that was fine. We just kind of did some, I don't know, we had different challenges every week. We got together at the park and did it.
There's a lot of things like squat thrusts, sit-ups. You know, the President Physical Fitness Test is a really good resource. And we just did kind of those type of things and different drills like that you would do in football and stuff like that. And there was all of a sudden, some of the kids really began to take an interest in physical, like their bodies. And so they started coming alive and doing more. So we really saw a lot of growth that year as well.
Yeah, Gloria said frisbee golf, not as sporty. That was another one we did, frisbee golf or ultimate frisbee. Because, we did ultimate frisbee with the church. That would become our thing. It's after church on Sundays we'd play Foursquare or ultimate frisbee because we had a lot of homeschoolers in the church.
And I walked. So I walked 3 miles almost every day.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
And he would go with me on the walks.
He would have us. And that was also when he would walk and, he would have one of us go with him. It was a good time to just, we would walk and get to talk, an undivided attention moment with him. Lindsay said, has Master Books ever considered having their big sale mid-year instead of the end of the year, or a slightly less extravagant summer sale? I'm grateful for any sale at all and recognize that you don't even have to have one. I know flash sales and clearance section can be areas for a great deal too. We truly appreciate Master Books materials no matter the cost, but I sure love being able to place a multi-box order.
Yeah, we only do the December one because the resources, that's the slowest time of the year for us, and we can handle a sale that big. It takes us 2 to 3 weeks to ship out the orders from that sale, and we could never handle the volume this time of year. Flash sales will probably, we'll see how long we can continue doing flash sales, but our crew is pushing it pretty strong, and there have been people from up in up in the office who've had to go down and help already this year. So
Yeah. Marshall and Crystal said, I recently saw Master Books recommended math antics on YouTube. We love to supplement with videos to go along with our history and science. Do you have any channels you recommend that have a biblical worldview to go along with those subjects?
Not at this time. We don't. I know like Jensen's Grammar and Jensen's Format Writing has DVDs in the Academy, and Writing Strands. Anna Walter is doing a series for the Writing Strands, so we'll have some courses in the Academy, but right now I don't have anything.
Eden asks, we talked about screen time and harm it causes. Do you have any resources for us as far as what is a reasonable amount of screen time?
I don't, and I mean, I'm sure that there are plenty of people that have ideas on that. We notice it in our kids. Like, they begin to just get moody. The brain changes, and the younger they are, the more you begin to see that. So we typically limit it to like 30 minutes at a time, maybe 3 days a week. There were certain days of the week. After everything else is done, we can always tell if we've been busy and more time has been played. It almost always results in bad attitudes and a decline in attention spans and everything like that.
Yeah, every family's gonna be different. Ours was, we finished all school at 3 o'clock. You couldn't play or do anything till 3. After 3, everybody would get 30 minutes or an hour each, and then you were good.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, with those, we got through all the questions.
Yay! And we did it in an hour. Good job. So, all right, guys. Well, hopefully you got some information. This was good, and it was fun. So, and then Thursday the teaching tips will be on empathy. I believe the number one parenting skill you can have, empathy. Empathy is so valuable as an emotional intelligence tool. The gospel, do you want to know how to present the gospel? I believe empathy is one of the biggest ways to present the gospel. So we're going to talk about that in more detail, and hopefully, like, my tongue and my brain and all of that is working. So I hope you can join us for that.
Hopefully we're able to talk.
Yeah, I don't know what happened today. So I do know what happened. We've done 2 weeks on the road. So we were in Nashville the week before, and shows are exhausting. Like, you drive a trailer into the building or into the loading dock, unload all the books, all the tables, all the shelving and the signs, everything. Then you spend an entire day setting up, and you do it at the same time. You do you're having to set up, but you're also having to sleep in a hotel room. And in our case, Nashville went downhill pretty quick because 2 of my children started throwing up, and so I had to get a second room. We had a sick room and an infirmary, but we all survived. And then we did it again in Rogers.
Yeah.
We all got our own beds in Rogers, though, and that was pretty nice.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right, guys. Hey, God bless you. You have a good week, and we will see you on Thursday.